Hey, what's good, everybody? It's me, your hero, Benjamin Banks, and you're listening to another new episode of Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks with me and my co-host, Rebellious D and Trav. How you fellas doing today?
All right, man.
You know what it is, baby.
I don't know what it is. That's why I asked.
It's go time.
It's go time, yeah.
Go time, baby.
That's what I love to hear. And joining us again is the lovely Beca. How are you doing, Beca?
I am doing great. Thank you so much for having me back.
You're welcome. I love the hair. I see that you went Super Saiyan Blue.
Thanks. You know, it's fun. I got I have like a growing collection of wigs while my hair is kind of like this in this in-between stage of like growth and roots.
Yeah,
I'm just like, you know what? Nice and easy. Change
what she said.
Nice touch.
So on today's episode, we are going to be talking about the new Disney Plus show, Wandavision, something that we have been waiting 50 years for. It finally came out today, and we watched it. And they dropped 2 episodes, not 1, because if they would have dropped 1, I would have been pissed off about that. But
they granted your wish.
Yeah, I know, right? They granted my wish. So before we get into that, make sure that you like and subscribe so that way you can keep up with your boys here at Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. I did it, D. I always did it. I never freeze. But before we get into the episode, Trav had some Marvel news that he wanted to drop on y'all. So Trav, take the floor.
That's right. Now, I don't know. I'm sure a lot of you may have heard, but we're going to talk about it anyways and recap what's gone down in the MCU this week. So I'm going to hit you with the new. The just released news, that TMZ right there. And that is the homie Charlie Cox has finished filming scenes for Spider-Man 3.
That's awesome.
Hey.
That's awesome. Yeah. Like, when you told me about it earlier, I was just like, what's your source? Yeah, I hit you with the what's your source. And then I looked it up and I was just like, oh, okay, like it's some legit sources out there.
I told you a couple of them.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's like I hadn't heard anything. Like the only news that I seen today was the Mortal Kombat pictures that came out.
I was looking fire.
Yeah, like Jax looks like Steve Harvey.
Yeah,
you know what
he does.
So, but yeah, I saw that. But yo, that's awesome that Charlie Cox is going to be back in the MCU. I remember reading rumors about this for last year, matter of fact, that he was going to be in it, but they were just rumors. So, I mean, still with this, I'm still kind of taking it with a grain of salt, even though I saw it was on some legit sites. D, how do you feel about it?
Awesome, dude. Charlie Cox killed it on the Netflix series, man. He's everything I imagined playing Matt Murdock, and I think it's a perfect role for him, and I think that they realized that's what led to them bringing him over. I love his Daredevil renditions. Yeah,
I agree. Becca, how do you feel about this information being dropped today?
I thought the news that you were going to drop was surrounding Chris Evans
and the possibility of
we gonna get to America's ass.
That's what we were gonna talk about. So I was like, oh, okay.
We gonna get to America's ass. Don't
worry. Okay.
That's right.
Yeah, Trav was building it up. You save America's ass for last.
That's right.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, I enjoyed Daredevil, but in regards to Spider-Man, like the Tom Holland Spider-Man, like I don't mean to be a jerk, but Miles Morales is the only Spider-Man that I really care for. I'm like, that's my beautiful angel son. So Tom Holland, every time I see him, I just want to give him like a juice box and some Lunchables. So I'm not as emotionally invested in the Spider-Man. I don't think I've seen the last Spider-Man movie.
Far From Home?
Yeah, I skipped it.
It was better.
It'll come up somewhere.
It was better than Homecoming.
You gotta watch it for the end credits alone, though.
Yeah, you gotta watch it.
Yeah, that's the thing about all the movies now. They have this added, bonus to all of them. So you kind of want to watch, see what else is going behind the scenes.
Yeah, especially since we're going to be talking about Wandavision today.
Yeah, if you don't drop a after credit scene, it's just confusing for the fans at this point. You're just like, but I waited.
Yeah.
I
You're
feel like
supposed to give me more.
I feel like we're disappointed now with only one. I'm expecting like 2 or 3, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Some of them had 2 of them, right? A lot of them had 2.
Yeah. Guardians had 3 of them.
No, Guardians 2 didn't have anything.
Yeah, Guardians 2 had 3.
No,
or was it?
It was probably
the first one that had 3.
Yeah,
I think.
because Guardians 2, I remember they just had a bunch of Easter eggs in the credits, and that was it.
Yeah, I think it was the first one then that had 3.
Yeah, I definitely think it's one of those things that you have like assigned specifically to those Marvel movies. You just expect it. So now that we're going into this phase of like, shows, it's going to be weird to transition. I think across the board, it's going to be a weird transition of like, I miss it. But that being said, it warmed my heart to hear that Marvel theme again when it started playing. Take it home.
So Trav, what else you got?
So I'll just run through these next 3 since somebody wanted to play spoilers with some of the news. But for the most exciting one I heard to me was that Moon Knight cast Ethan Hawke as the villain. Now we don't know who the villain is. But I've been satisfied with every Moon Knight casting so far.
Yeah. Ethan Hawke has it's Ethan Hawke, bro. He's got good credit.
For sure.
So very excited. I think it'll be better because the style of actor he is, and once we get a name, then we can go further in depth and revisit it. How do you feel?
That's all I can. I'm excited for all.
She don't care. She don't feel nothing.
I hear.
I'm looking forward to Moon Knight. He's still I know that he's Marvel's version of Batman, so I really don't know a lot about him, but I'm looking forward to it because what's the actor's name that's going to be playing him again? I forgot.
Oscar Isaac.
Oscar Isaac. Thank you. And he's an incredible actor, so I'm really looking forward to Moon Knight. It's Marvel. Marvel can make you care about the Guardians of the Galaxy. You know what I'm saying?
Do we have a time frame for that? I mean, release dates are kind of iffy.
No,
across the board, but
we don't have a time frame for anything, unfortunately.
One thing, Banks. We move on to the next topic. News drop. Moon Knight. I think the slight difference is I believe he kills. I don't think he's. I think that's comparing him to Batman, he does take people out. So
take him out.
Yeah, for good. Not throw him in jail.
Nah, they done for.
Try.
Another piece. Me personally, I don't care. Is Deadpool 3 is confirmed and it will be rated R.
Why don't you care?
Because I don't care for the first 2.
Yeah, I'm good on Deadpool.
I wasn't.
It's probably the most overrated comic book movie I've ever seen in my life.
I agree with you on that. I agree. The first one was really overrated. I remember people were talking about it. They were hyped, and I watched it, and I was just like, "It's okay.
It's okay.
It doesn't deserve the hype that it's getting." But Deadpool 2 was definitely better than the first one.
I agree.
A lot of fun.
Yeah,
I don't know. The Ajax joke was pretty funny. That was kind of funny.
But you can't just let one joke. You can't let one joke carry the entire movie. That's
of course not. That's not what I'm saying.
That's like a Family Guy movie coming out, and it's just about Quagmire. Nobody wants to sit and watch Quagmire for 2 hours. You know what I'm saying?
He's kind of funny.
I mean, he's funny, but I wouldn't want to watch a Quagmire movie. No. I'd rather watch a Cleveland Show movie, though.
Honestly, I don't want to watch.
Of course, you would.
I don't want to watch.
What's that supposed to mean?
You know what it's supposed to mean, Cleveland. Oh, but I'll watch Cleveland.
Yeah,
getting a little touchy, buddy.
Because the Cleveland Show got canceled. The Cleveland Show and American Dad are the better projects than Family Guy. Family Guy, when it first started, all those years that it was on TV, it was sweet. But then after a while, it got played out. And then when American Dad came out, I was just like, okay, I loved it. It actually has a story that is following. And same thing on the Cleveland Show. It has a story that is following. Whereas on Family Guy, it's just, we're throwing something on the wall. That's what you're getting this week.
I feel like American Dad is what he wanted Family Guy to be. But the network was like, we're gonna pigeonhole you now because this is what's selling. Yeah.
Well, I'm just happy that American Dad is still running because it did get canceled, and it got put on TBS. And honestly, I really feel that the Cleveland show might come back because it's on BET now. So who knows? What?
Yeah. I just wanted to troll you, and you just went on a rant.
Because man, you ain't gonna sit here and disrespect Cleveland like that. Becca, how do you feel about the news of Deadpool 3 dropping or being announced? That is, I'm sorry.
I mean, is Domino in it?
Of course, she's gonna be in it.
Should be.
Okay,
Yes.
then I'm sure
the same lineup.
I thought she did a good job. Like I love her on Atlanta.
I'm like, it's such a great look. Like, but I mean, like Deadpool is not one of the like Marvel characters that I'm like deeply attached to. So like, it's one of those things where it's like I will watch it with my friends. We'll have a good time. Maybe get some nacho fries, like you mentioned.
And mozzarella
Nacho
sticks.
fries.
Those nacho fries.
Yeah.
Stop bringing up the nacho fries.
You know what's terrible is like right before we did this, I watched this this YouTube series called Dish Granted, and they were like making these gourmet nacho no, not like tacos, and that's all I wanted, and I was like, this is not the time. It's just not the time.
It's always the time.
I really want some nacho fries right now, but I can't have them.
It's ruining my life.
Hey, you know what it's time is for?
America's ass?
It's time for America's ass.
That's right. Let's go.
Baby.
All right, let's go.
I just want to know, what do you think he's gonna fit into? Because
it's just gonna be a flashback. I think that Cap's story wrapped up pretty well in Endgame. You know what I'm saying? It's either gonna be a flashback or, like I was telling D, in the comics, I know that they really don't follow a lot of the stuff from the comics, but in the comics, Captain Steve Rogers, he ends up becoming young again,
right?
Because of the super soldier serum, and he ends up becoming Captain America again. So if they bring him back like that, I mean, they bring him back. I wouldn't want him to come back. Like
they signed him. They signed him for 1, opened up to 3. So
for real?
If they're gonna do something like that, they got to be pretty damn committed. You can't go that route and bring him back for one damn movie.
Well, maybe
that's fine print for you. Like,
yeah.
Well, I mean, maybe he might be in not WandaVision, the Doctor
Winter
Strange
Soldier
movie, the Doctor Strange.
Oh, the Doctor Strange movie, yeah.
So I mean, I can see that happen. Becca, how do you feel about that? How do you feel about America's ass?
Tom and I had already like discussed this. Like, if anything, maybe if he comes back, like you said, if he comes back in like a flashback or it's a quick cameo, it's fine. But I have been waiting for Falcon and Winter Soldier for so long. I want it. Just like, you gave up the shield, like give up. It's time. Give me some Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan. I've been waiting.
We all have been.
I'm ready.
And that's what she said.
That's right, baby.
100%.
That's right. So yeah, that's all I got. America's ass. We'll end it with that.
I mean, I was waiting.
No, I was waiting for you.
Tim, I just think it'll be. I don't think they bring Chris Evans back for a cameo, guys. I think it's going to be a little bit more than that.
Right.
And Cap has found ways to come multiple times, and he's a favorite. So I would love it. He's my number one hero. So
Yeah.
him and Devil are pretty. But
Yeah.
Cap, so he's so significant. You can't just expect to be a cameo. And I don't. It would be weird for them to recast the character. So I'm interested to see exactly what they do with him.
I agree with you.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it was funny though that he responded with that. He was like, "Oh, it's news to me." That was hilarious.
That's what he does.
No, I'm retired. What are you talking about? Like, don't call me.
They had to bring him back. We need you.
We need you, Cap.
We need you. Do you think that this might be because of the passing of Chadwick Boseman? Because I feel like he was going to be like this big star for, the Marvel phases moving forward. So do you think that they probably felt like we need to, bring back a big star to continue the Marvel phases? Or do you just think it's just us bringing them back?
Yeah, I think they're just bringing him back. I mean,
I think they're just bringing him back too.
I think it's Anthony Mackie's time to shine. And I mean,
I do too.
Everybody knows, the hard on I got for Anthony Mackie, man. So
I remember when
it's my boy's time to shine, man. So let's get it.
I remember how you were looking at him in Striking Vipers. You wish that you were playing. You wish you were playing the game with him.
Hey,
and Trav, I'm glad you brought Anthony Mackie up. Because in the Civil War comics, Winter Soldier and Falcon kind of take the mantle up after passes in that storyline anyway. So maybe this is their spin on it, because they do take some accents from the comic books big screen. So maybe they're going to fight a bunch of Cap's old villains while gone and stuff like that, just like in the comic books. So, yep.
We shall see.
Y'all ready to talk about WandaVision?
Let's do it.
I've been waiting all day to talk about this. Like, I wanted to hit each of you up to talk about it. I did talk with D a little bit about it earlier, but he told me he was going to wait to watch it with his wife. I was about to say,
I feel like D's the king of talking about what we're supposed to be talking about off the pod, bro. For sure.
So, let's go ahead and get into it. So, WandaVision, like I said, it came out today. It was announced back in 2019 after Endgame, and list of other Marvel movies like not Winter Soldier, but Falcon and Winter Soldier, the Loki show, and I believe the Hawkeye show was everything that was announced after Endgame. And that was the reason why I got Disney Plus, because I wanted to see the Marvel stuff, and
you still ain't got it.
We still didn't get it until today. You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand because of the pandemic and whatnot, stuff got pushed back, but back then we thought that we were going to be getting it sooner rather than later.
I was really hoping that they would drop it sooner. Like, quarantine would have been so much better with the Marvel shows.
If only.
Yeah,
I agree.
Enjoy that time.
Mandalorian.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we had Mandalorian.
I really feel like they wasted a prime opportunity to show content where Netflix was, shooting out stuff, man.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, Trav, when you're ahead of the mountain, they probably had something to do with it.
Well, that Netflix 2021 lineup is looking fire right now, bro. You see the commercial?
Hey, Netflix picked up pretty good. I ain't gonna lie,
So, episode 1, we see that Wanda and Vision, they're married now. They're in a television show. It's black and white. I was getting the Dick Van Dyke show vibes from this. I was getting Bewitched, and I was also getting I Dream of Jeannie vibes from this. I was wondering how they were going to go into it, because it's I was wondering if they were going to be themselves, but it's they weren't themselves. It's they were TV versions of themselves.
Right.
So starting with you, D, how did you feel when you saw the opening scene of them moving into the neighborhood and whatnot, and they're regular people now?
I thought to me it was awesome. It took me back to watching stuff like Nick at Night with my mom.
Yep.
And it just, the little jokes and everything, I thought it was well executed. And then it has some, instances where laws and things where it's fake, to capacity, whether they're being controlled by somebody or watched, whatever. I think it's really good. I can't wait to see it unfold.
Beca?
I'm a big fan of I Love Lucy and Bewitched. So I love that aesthetic. I thought it was interesting that Wanda didn't have her accent. And I'm wondering if maybe that's a result of her maybe watching those kinds of shows as a child, so imitating them in this kind of alternate reality that she's created. One thing that I didn't fully grasp and take into account is that if all of this is going on, post Endgame, Vision's dead, and I wasn't really thinking about that perhaps she's trying to recreate that. One thing that I kind of wish they would have done more so in that first episode is drop more eerie hints beforehand that something's off.
Yeah.
That someone else is behind the scenes. Because I like that they, started to tap in, but it was well into that third act.
Yeah.
It got kind of crazy.
Yeah. It got super weird.
And I'm hoping that new watchers at least have some kind of background with old sitcoms, that they aren't completely like thrown off and are expecting to jump into their standard Marvel situation.
I mean, I'm pretty sure WandaVision, what is it, the What If series, there's certain shows that aren't going to have that traditional action background. So you have to go in certain things. Me and Banks talked about this earlier, having an open mind, not just like criticizing it because it's not what you're used to. You have to, I don't know, like DVDs, read the back of it and see what it's about. You have to look at the overview of some stuff. Just this is crap.
Like, I think it's very fun to do something different, and having a series as opposed to giving a movie where there's like all those set expectations, opens up the doors for them to do some really interesting things with the Marvel shows that they have lined up. But I think that when you get to something like Marvel or even like Star Wars, you have such a wide variety of fans. You have people who are familiar with all of the like source material and they're very attached to these things, and then other people who are like brand new. You have people, like my mother, who are very casual watchers, and they're like, wait a minute, what happened in the movie again? Oh, I don't remember Age of Ultron. Who are these people? So I'm hoping that doesn't hinder people from I guess like dipping their toes into the series and trying to figure out what's going on, because I think that's going to be something really interesting for the series. Not just the nostalgia for those sitcoms, but also there's this grand mystery that they'll unveil throughout the series. So I'm very excited for that. I just wish that in that first episode they would have dropped a few more Easter eggs and hints earlier on.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. 3 things that I wanted to touch on that you said. The one thing about sitcoms, I feel like today's generation, they probably wouldn't know anything about like the older shows, just because like when you go to TV stations like Nick at Night and TV Land, like a lot of the shows that they have up there are shows from the early 2000s, like My Wife and Kids, George Lopez. So like shows like I Love Lucy and I Dream of Jeannie, I feel like those are shows that are in the vault. You know what I'm saying? Unless you have like a specific channel that'll show you that stuff. And as we know, it's like what kids are going out of their way to watch TV Land. You know what I'm saying? Like I watch TV Land because it's stuff up there that I watched when I was younger. So the other thing I wanted to bring up was, you said dropping Easter eggs. When this show first started, when they showed the trailer for it initially, I didn't know if it was going to take place when Wanda and Vision were on the run, before Infinity War and after Civil War. That's why I thought it was going to take place. But then we find out that it takes place after Endgame. And that was all that I just wanted to bring up. There was a third thing, but I had to bring for it.
I don't know why I thought this, but I thought that it was going to be in that in-between stage where they were on the run together. Because I thought that like, we're going to see a bit more of their relationship, which will carry more weight to Wanda's line of like, you took everything from me. So I think, I don't know if they've said specifically like this is after Endgame, or if they've said that this is not a prequel.
No clarity.
I was kind of spoiled on something, but it's after Endgame. It is. Yeah,
well, I did want to say, you brought up Easter eggs. They do have, they do the little fake commercials, and they have the Hydra symbol. Then they have the start. I think there's something else in there. I was actually looking at it in that way when I was watching.
Yeah, they have the sword. The sword.
Yeah. Okay. And I think the first goes along, and then you have the person asking her who's doing the work.
Right.
I wish there was a way to like pick up on the voice, see who did the voice. I'm not sure.
I was trying to figure out if I could recognize the voice that was coming through the radio, and I couldn't place it. But
I know who it was.
Who was it?
I was gonna wait till we got to episode 2 to reveal that.
I think it's Winter Soldier
right now.
Bro, tell me why I thought you was about to say these nuts.
Oh, I missed the opportunity.
Like, I thought for sure that was coming.
Oh, that's what she said.
He wouldn't do her. He wouldn't shoot on her like that.
Yeah,
he wouldn't.
Yeah,
do that.
Becca is an angel. I wouldn't do that.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
No, one thing that I thought that was interesting, that I connected between the two kind of ad scenes, the commercials that are mixed in there. I noticed that they had the same two actors for that, even though they were different products and
I didn't even notice that.
Different names. But both of them had this kind of ticking that was going on between that like kind of toaster and also the watch, where the ticking gets like louder. And so that to me was definitely signaling something, and I was getting some Winter Soldier vibes, and I was like ready to comply.
I'm gonna get to that once we get to episode 2.
Yeah. Well, just to
let's try. Yeah, go ahead, Trav.
Touch on a couple things that Beca had said. Going back to the accent, we haven't had the accent since Infinity War, and the Russo brothers have commented on that before, saying that behind the scenes they've trained her to get rid of her accent. To me, I just think they just stopped doing the accent, and then they came up with some BS story.
So they pulled a Kofi Kingston.
Yeah, they definitely pulled a WWE. Yeah. So, but yeah, honestly, I think they put quite a number of Easter eggs in the first episode. I mean, and I really think they dropped 2, because I think if we just saw the first one, people would be disappointed, to be quite frank with you.
Yeah.
For real. Because I was not feeling the first episode for real, man. Like,
well,
I thought it was okay, but I just...
Yeah, well,
it was just okay.
To me, going into the series, I thought the original trailer sucked. So, it did it no favors for me. The second one spiced it up, to see what the show could be. So I was never hype on the show, so I can't say I was disappointed in the first one, because
interesting.
I wasn't hyped for the show like I am for Winter Soldier, which and I still don't understand. Originally, Falcon and Winter Soldier was supposed to come first, followed by WandaVision. Now they've switched it up and they blamed COVID. But how could that be? Because what did COVID have to do with them flip-flopping the shows? It should have no
shooting. It could have been shooting.
Yeah.
So
I was wondering if there
why would they be done shooting WandaVision first if they were going to
location
Winter Soldier?
Probably location. Different countries had different specifications for what you could and couldn't do. How many people you could have.
Yeah.
There's reasons, Trav.
I agree with D, and then also too, you got to look at it like this. Most of the series takes place in houses and buildings.
Right. It's very easy to shoot that way. Yeah. With that set. So, I was wondering about that, if they had specific reasons for releasing certain ones in the order that they have them right now.
Right.
Or if they had been switched around. Because now that we've gone, past Endgame, you have all of these things that are time jumping.
Right.
Especially like with Loki, and you're like, where does this really fall in place?
Well, we know that Loki is from Endgame when he got away with the.
Yeah.
I think the Loki thing is literally just to capitalize on Tom Middleston. Yeah, I think it's just to capitalize on him.
I'm not mad at it.
Yeah, I'm not hating on it either. I think it's just a one-off kind of fun show to.
Bro, I feel like it's gonna bring him back. I feel like it's gonna bring him back in the MCU, just like we got old girl back. I'm mad I can't remember her name. Star-Lord's girl. What's her name?
Oh,
Gamora.
Yeah, but a different Gamora.
Yeah, it's a different Gamora. So it's the same. It's the same thing, because it's like, honestly, man, I'm not a fan of heroes and villains becoming friends. That's just like if we became friends with Michael. You know what I'm saying? It's like I want heroes and villains to be heroes and villains. Like I didn't like that Thor and Loki were starting to become brothers. Yeah, and get along.
Wait, so what do you think of the like enemies to lovers trope then?
Yeah, well, I disagree, because you've already told the story of them hating each other over 3 movies. Now you can get the rapport going of them. They're still brothers at the end of the day. Maybe not by blood, but growing up with each other.
Yeah,
exactly.
So we spent 3 movies of them hating each other and going back and forth and tit for tat, and then now we're getting more of a chemistry bond between them. I dig it. Yeah. I'm not a fan of the Gamora and them completely. They built up her and Star-Lord's love only for us to flush it down the toilet and start over again. Yeah. Come on, man.
It's like a hard reset.
Yeah.
So, in the episode, we find out that Vision, he works at this firm and he has to bring his boss over for dinner, and he has to impress his boss or he's gonna get fired because we see what happened to the last guy. And they didn't know what the date was. It was on the 23rd, and it was a Hart up there because his boss's last name was Hart. So Wanda, she thought one thing, Vision thought another thing, and then when they come home, Wanda's dressed all sexy. She's trying to do something for her man, and then she's touching the wrong man. And I thought that was.
You made that sound so much worse than it was.
It was worse.
Hold on.
She's covering his eye.
How could you confuse the two though? One's tall and skinny, one's short and fat.
It was dark. The lights were off.
Like tall.
The lights weren't off.
The lights were off.
And she didn't hug him, Trav.
They didn't.
She just put her arms in front of his face.
Pitch black. I don't. Nah, you're not selling me on it. You're not selling me on it.
I mean, she wasn't expecting anyone else to come in. So
I can tell you this: if you put your hands on another girl and your girlfriend's in the room, that's not the end of it. I'm gonna tell you that. There would be, how dare you confuse us? I don't care if it was pitch black
and we were in the belly of a beast. Covering the front of her eyes and be like, it should feel different. I don't care.
And then they had to play it up, be like, oh, that's something that they do in her homeland. It's Sokovia. That's something that they do in Sokovia.
Which was really interesting because she didn't have the accent anymore. So it's like, we still reference it, but apparently it's not important enough for her to keep her accent.
Hey, are you not going to shout out the most underrated show of all time with Deborah Jo Rupp? We got Kitty Foreman, man, right there. We got Kitty Foreman.
I mean, I was going to bring it up once we got to it. I mean,
we were there.
I didn't really watch that 70s show, but I know what it is. I did check out a few episodes, but I didn't watch it like that.
But it's the most underrated TV show of all time.
It is the most
underrated that plays TV every single day.
Yes,
for 12 hours a day.
According to Daniel
that show.
Yes, according to Daniel Patrick Glenn.
She was the mom. She was the mom.
She's the mom. She's Kitty Foreman.
She looked so familiar from the time I saw her. I was like,
Deborah Jo Rupp, man. Respect the legend, man.
That show's actually pretty funny too.
Even the boss is that, I don't know that actor by name, but he's been in a bunch of things.
He didn't look familiar to me.
Recognizable. I just don't know them by name.
Yeah, now you make me want to look him up because he didn't look recognizable to me.
Yeah, he didn't look recognizable to me. I'm pretty sure if you look it up, you can see who he is and see what he's been in.
Boss?
Yeah, his boss. I will say that one of the things that I loved about the first episode was the old TV tropes that we had. I was surprised that Wanda didn't know how to cook, and she had to use her magic to try and prepare a meal that her neighbor Agnes had brought over. And honestly, I feel like Agnes is the true villain of the show because she's just always around. And I'm going to get to that.
Yeah,
I'm going to get to that when we start talking about episode 2. But it was just crazy. She was using her magic. She couldn't cook. She ruined dinner, and they ended up having breakfast. And breakfast for dinner, I love breakfast for dinner. You know what I'm saying? But
hey, guess what I had tonight?
You had pancakes and eggs.
Hey, no question.
It's like, who doesn't love going to IHOP late at night? You know what I'm saying? So, I thought that was cool. It did get really weird and creepy when the boss started choking. And his wife, she just kept on saying, "Stop
playing,
stop it, stop it." And she just sitting there smiling.
Do you think it was something? Imagine if they have her some sort of sedated, right? Just look at the scenario, and she was using her powers to choke whoever was sedating her.
Yeah,
that's what it kind of gave vibe is because she does have powers, and it was kind of about her not being able to cook. She couldn't cook in the movies anyway. Remember Vision was trying to butter her up by trying to cook something for her.
Yeah,
some like cookie or something like that. Said it was some dish from.
It was something with paprika or something.
Yeah,
this is my favorite dish.
Something like that.
Yep.
Gefilte fish.
This happened in Civil War, right? When they were staying together.
Yes.
Yeah. It was when Hawkeye went to go save her.
Right.
He quote unquote went to save her, but he couldn't.
So how did y'all feel about that scene? Like starting with you, Trav. I know D already gave his explanation on it, but starting with you, Trav, and then you, Beca. How did you feel about the scene?
Well, it's an awkward scene because nobody knows how to react. He's choking. The wife's telling him to play it off. It definitely leaves you wondering, would he have ever even really choked? I don't know. I really ain't got much thoughts, opinions on it. I'm sure it'll lead to. It's like M. Night. It's like they're sprinkling in little clues here and there, but you don't know what it's going to lead to.
Beca?
Yeah. I like that it was that area. I like that she was, kind of on a loop with her, stop it. Not actually reacting like a normal human being would in that situation, watching your husband choke. But like I said, I kind of wish that they would have hinted a little bit more at the eeriness of it, because there's this here and there where they're like, we're an unusual couple. I don't really remember when we got married. I don't really remember like where we moved here from. How did we get here? And it really like pushed those questions more so to the forefront, where he's like demanding answers. And something that you notice between both of the episodes that aired tonight is that Wanda is clearly more concerned about this reality part than Vision is. Vision is, kind of more so on the confused side and, protective side, but he doesn't have the same fear in his eyes that Wanda has throughout it. So I like that she kind of was able to take control in that scene, and also in episode 2, in those moments where it gets too eerie and she's able to take control and be like, okay, stop, go help him. No, we're not going to deal with this beekeeper situation.
Yeah, I agree with you, because it's like everybody was just sitting at the table and Wanda had to say something to Vision for him to do anything. You know what I'm saying? So, somebody else started talking. I forgot to hook up my charger for my laptop. I think too, the weird thing about it is, now that we're talking about Aaron get out, I think that it might be her dealing with some sort of internal trauma where she isn't willing to move past Vision being gone. Kind of like, I don't know, when you lose a loved one and people just kind of become like vegetative. And it could be that, and maybe people trying to help her on the outside. So,
well, I feel like most of us think that she's created this alternate reality that she's trapped herself into. Yeah. I think the voice, and this is just me kind of taking a stab, I don't think the voice matters who it is. I think it's somebody from S.W.O.R.D. thinking that somebody put her in it, but they didn't. She put herself in it. They're trying to find a way to get her out of this loop that she's put herself in, kind of like Doctor Strange.
Exactly.
I was just gonna add that it kind of gave me like Eternal Sunshine vibes.
Oh yeah. I love that movie.
Like there's definitely outside sources that are trying to interfere, but they're caught up in that kind of imaginary scenario where they're together. So
well, that makes you wonder, did she bring in all these people from Westview and they're victims of her trapped in her reality, or are they part of this whole thing?
I think that they're part of that whole thing. It's like I was getting Fallout vibes from where they are right now, Fallout 3 vibes. Right. I don't know if y'all played Fallout 3, but okay. But remember the Tranquility Lane the one mission where it's like you go into a simulation because you got to save your dad. Spoiler alert! If you haven't played Fallout 3. That's what I was getting from where they are right now, because we see at the end of the episode that there's a person watching what's going on.
Yeah, studio monitors and stuff.
You know, because it's set in the 1950s, I was just getting the Fallout 3 vibes, and you know, the person that was sitting in the chair watching, it gave me Control Freak vibes from Teen Titans.
Right.
I kind of got those vibes from it as well.
A lot of vibes, man. A lot of vibes.
Yeah, it's vibe night. You know what I'm saying?
Vibe night.
Vibe night.
A lot of vibes. Well, wait until we get to episode 2. But yeah, I was just getting all these vibes, like from, you know, stuff that I've seen over time. I mean, of course, they're doing the sitcom stuff, so. Like I said earlier, you know, Bewitched and I Dream of Jeannie and the Dick Van Dyke Show. Like, you know, the only thing that was missing was Vision coming home and tripping over the ottoman. You know what I'm saying? But I'm sure that we'll see that.
He walked through the ottoman. Or I walked through the couch.
He walked through
the couch. That's what it was.
Yeah, he would walk through the ottoman. So, do y'all have anything else that y'all wanted to talk about on episode 1, or are y'all ready to move to episode 2?
Let's roll, man.
Okay, so we get to episode 2 and they're preparing for a talent show, and we're introduced to more neighbors and whatnot. We see the mailman and all this other good stuff. And Wanda, she picks up a red helicopter that is in a bush. And when I saw this, I was getting Is it Pleasantville? Was that the movie?
Pleasantville is when things start to turn colors, yeah.
Yeah, so I was getting those vibes when I saw that. Yeah, a lot of vibes.
Vibe night.
Well, also to add though, that helicopter also again has the S.W.O.R.D logo on it.
So what it might be is that Wanda is trapped somewhere, and the team from S.W.O.R.D, they're trying to get her out of that, out of the simulation. That's the only thing that I can think of. I was also thinking that the person that is running the simulation, I'm assuming that it has to be somebody from Hydra. I'm assuming that because, you know, with everything that happened in Sokovia, Baron Strucker, it's like that was like a clear hint that got me when they showed the commercial with the watch. It said Strucker, so I was just like, okay, yeah, Baron Strucker. He experimented on Wanda and Pedro. So what is it, Pedro or Pierre? I can't remember her brother's name.
Pierre, I believe. I don't think it's Pedro.
They do show the Hydra logo.
Exactly. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? But I know that Baron Strucker, he dies in, I believe, Age of Ultron. But I looked up some information on him, and he does have 3 children. He has 2 twins, Andrea and Andreas, and he has a son named Werner. So I'm thinking that the person that has her in the simulation might be one of his kids. But I definitely think that Hydra is involved with this, and hopefully we find out more about it. So moving along, when starting with you, D, like, how did you feel when she saw the S.W.O.R.D helicopter? Like what message or vibes were you getting when you saw that?
Real quick, it's Pietro. Like you say his name, Pietro. So, you know, I mean, we all know that S.W.O.R.D is more of a lawful symbol, you know, what they stand for. So maybe it's just her being caught up. I like the fact that y'all brought up maybe she's hooked to something and they're trying to enter a locator. So I don't know, man. It could go, I don't know too much about the member of S.W.O.R.D, but it could be as far as going out there. It could be a psychic communicating with her, trying to figure out where they have her. It could be anything, really. So, but I like it. I like the introduction of S.W.O.R.D. I'm curious to learn more and more about who they are and what they're doing anyway. So, yep. But when I think of a S.W.O.R.D, I think of defense, you know, somebody sticking up for somebody. So,
Trav?
Yeah, again, I know Beca said she didn't see Spider-Man 2, but, you know, we talked about at the end credits, we see Nick Fury in space with the scrolls.
Yeah.
Whatever they're called. Scrolls, whatever.
Yeah,
whatever.
scrolls.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, the scrolls.
You got that one.
I don't know. I feel like that could play in reference to it. Maybe Nick is involved in this in some way of trying to get her out versus a Hydra situation. I don't know.
Maybe they're trying to weaponize her. That's what it might be.
Yeah, I can see that happening.
She's pretty unstable, so I mean, it could be her doing this to herself, like in the comics book during House of M. She does it where she warps reality.
Right.
I mean, this could go a lot of ways, guys. And I'm excited to see what's going on. But Becca, back to you. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I agree. There is so much opportunity when you have a character that can actually warp reality. It's like all these different, ways that they can go. And as you said, is unstable, is heartbroken, has been through so much trauma. Like we've covered that and the way that she can, legitimately get caught up in her own head and what she wants to see. So that was the first instance of things from the outside starting to bleed a little bit. First introduction to color, and from the trailers, that scene around them is going to change. Like the sitcom scenery that we're going to see is going to change over the series. Yep. So as far as that first instant, it didn't really hit me because I wasn't familiar yet with S.W.O.R.D. So obviously, after I watched, I looked it up and I was like, okay, what's that? All right, I know Hydra, but what's this? And so, it was interesting when you actually see the next instance also be in red, to see someone bleeding and it not be directly linked to her. Like she's in the same space, but that's someone else's blood. And that's really interesting to me because I'm curious as to what that character's relationship is to everything that's going on in the outside world. I know that neighbor is going to be throughout the series and in the different sitcom scenarios. I don't know how much of the rest of the community is going to carry over, or if that's going to change. But if they are all kind of in on it, then naturally I think they would carry over to the other scene.
Mm-hmm. I think that they're probably going to carry over too, because they're all in the same simulation and whatnot. So I can see it happening and just everybody being different characters and whatnot. But yeah, I do think that Agnes is going to be revealed as the person that is behind everything. And yeah, I mean, it's like I said, I was getting the Fallout 3 vibes. Like that, the same thing happened in Fallout 3 where it was one of the characters, she followed the vault dweller around the entire time he was in the simulation, and it was revealed that she was the bad guy. And I just feel like Agnes, she just always shows up randomly. You know what I'm saying? Even in the first episode, she just came over. You know what I'm saying? And it's I just think that she's going to be revealed to be the villain. That voice that we heard, when I heard it, I know that you guys said that y'all don't know who it is, but it sounded like Rhodey when I heard it, and he was calling out to Wanda saying what's going on. I really believe that it's Rhodey trying to reach her.
Okay. That makes sense. I like that.
And I hope that's who it is when we see the next episode.
Well, you think they'll reveal it in episode 3?
Yeah.
No way.
I would hope so. I mean, since the episode ended with oh yeah, you know what? Yeah, I get what you're saying. Why they wouldn't reveal it?
I'm wondering if they might drop the name of the actor in the those IMDb credits.
I was looking. That's why I was all over that. I was like, man,
who is that?
Yeah, I checked. That's how I was spoiled on who else was going to be in the series. I didn't know that there was going to be other characters from the MCU reprising roles in this series. So I think that's cool that you're having characters come back.
Well, that's something I want to talk about when we get to the wrap up portion.
But yeah, it was also crazy seeing Vision, because he can't eat anything, and he ate some gum, and then he got it stuck inside of his system, and that pretty much made him drunk, and he was revealing his powers to these people. And I loved how Wanda, because she can actually do magic and warp stuff, she was able to make everything look like it was just magic. So I thought that scene was cool. But yeah, and at the end, you know, we see the beehive man, or the dude with the bees. Like, we see him.
Yeah.
And Wanda, she was just like, no. And then she rewinded time, and they never even went outside. So, Beca, like you were saying earlier, it's like she has control here. She is still, you know, sad because of what happened to Vision. I understand. I understand why she doesn't want this to end, because she was in love with this man, and Thanos took him away from her, and Thanos doesn't even know who she is. You know, so you know, Trav, how did you feel like seeing the Bee Man at the end of the episode, and then like everything rewinding, and now Wanda's pregnant? Like, how did you feel about all that stuff?
I could care less, bro. Yeah, I'm trying to be subtle with it here. You know what I mean? I could care less. I don't know what that leads to. I don't know what's up with the pregnancy thing. It's probably just something because, you know, she wanted to have babies, I guess, and she never could with Vision, but now they can in her reality. I don't know.
Hey, thought Trav was frozen on screen.
Yeah,
he was like, check the plug. Check the plug.
Between this and the last episode I feel like Travis's response is usually like, I mean, I wasn't really like hoping for anything.
I didn't expect you to ask me this question on my feelings on Beehive. Like, I don't know who it is.
I don't know that character yet.
I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and take it, Banks. I think that this is just her going further into her misery, if you will, like still further and further and go away from reality. You know, just kind of forcing the issue she can in a way, or she feels like she can. And I'm curious to see what happens. I mean, I'm to see the way it falls out, because it's pretty obviously that we're gonna see the twins. Or the kids, I'll say, and I'm curious to see how they pull her out and how she is once she gets back to planet Earth.
Yeah,
in a way, you know. So it's very interesting. I like the build up.
Yeah, I feel like with the bee dude, and then at the end of episode 1 where the boss was choking. It's like that's when it wasn't a sitcom. You know what I'm saying? Like the laugh track went away and whatnot. It was a serious matter. And like Beca was saying earlier about Wanda just taking control, she's in control here, and I feel like this is something that we're going to keep on seeing until they finally do pull her out of the Matrix.
Yep.
So Trav, I guess we can go ahead and start wrapping this up if y'all don't have anything else to talk about with episode 2.
No, I just got some notes on like the overall aspect of WandaVision.
Okay,
kill it.
Don't trash it.
No.
Oh, easy.
Now, again, I didn't hate episode 1 like you did. I don't think it was a strong. Again, I still think they put out 2 because I don't think 1 was enough to sell everybody to keep watching. So they dropped 2 because they didn't tell us they were going to drop 2. Nobody knew this.
Yeah.
So I just felt like
hook is in 2.
Huh?
Like, the hook is in episode 2
for sure. For sure. So no, just things that as far as like casting goes, you know, Evan Peters was casted, but nobody really still knows who Evan Peters is going to be. And of course, Evan Peters played Quicksilver in the X-Men movies over there with Fox.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
So
I didn't even
a lot of stuff
I think he's going to prize.
Now, a lot of stuff I had seen is, of course, she's already been confirmed for Multiverse of Madness. So we know she's in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. A lot of comic book nerds really believe that Evan Peters is going to be an alternate universe version of Pietro, who tells her to open up that multiverse and break herself out of that and lead that into Doctor Strange, is what a lot of people really believe. And it makes total sense, bro.
Yeah, it does.
Why else would you bring in Evan Peters and not reveal who Evan Peters is going to be?
Yeah.
I mean, it would be crazy if he was playing somebody else. I mean, I think we can pretty much sum up that he will be some form of Quicksilver.
For sure.
But what reality or whatnot. Yeah,
right.
So.
Right.
I like it.
That's my stamp on it.
I like it, man.
Yeah, like I said, like you just revealed Evan Peters was going to be in it. I had looked it up earlier and I saw that you had Monica Rambeau. She's going to be in it. That she was the daughter of Maria Rambeau and Captain Marvel.
Right.
And so,
they said she's supposed to play a big role in this next phase of the MCU.
Mm-hmm. Then you have Randall Park. He was the FBI agent in Ant-Man. He's reprising his role. Right. And then Kat Dennings, who was Darcy in the Thor movie, she's reprising her role. So I was just like, oh, okay. Like, I did like all of those characters, excluding, Monica, because she's an adult now. But the child Monica, I thought she was cool in Captain Marvel. You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking forward to see what they do with these characters. And I'm just looking forward to see where this show is going to go because, like I said, I wanted to get Falcon and Winter Soldier. Like, if they started off the MCU series with that show, like, I would have been hyped. But like I told D earlier when I called him after I finished watching it, like, I was just like, I wasn't really feeling the first episode. Like, I thought it was okay. Another thing that I thought about too is, like, if we didn't know what the MCU was, right? Like, say, the MCU wasn't even a thing, and like they just put this show WandaVision on TV. Like, would you guys watch it if you didn't know what the MCU was? And like it was set, set like a classic sitcom. Would y'all watch it? Starting with
because Oh, sorry, Banks. I kind of jumped the gun, but I think it just has a look to it. I mean, I'm a fan of like sci-fi creature features. Anything out there. It kind of reminds, because you could tell Vision's not human. You don't need to look up that he's a robot.
Yeah.
And if you have any kind of, open mind, you probably sit and look at it. And then once, it doesn't take long because it goes right into it. And then I think seeing it transition from an old school kind of like, what is that, 80s, 90s TV sitcom to, to whatever, current day, I guess, fun.
Becca?
I just want to add to this, like, there's obviously like so much to dig into within the Marvel universe that we've discussed. But I also want to put this out there, like, the show kind of held its own as a sitcom. Like, it really like played up to the sitcom tropes and like the slapstick humor and the like ridiculous scenarios.
Yep.
It was
the jokes. It seemed like a old school sitcom. I agree.
Paul Bettany looked like he was having the time of his life doing that episode.
I can see that.
I feel, on that regard, I feel so happy that they get to like really play as actors, not just, have to play this very serious role as superheroes. I like that it has that ability to stretch and do something very, very different. So I personally really enjoyed it because I do enjoy those kinds of sitcoms. But yeah, like, I think that in the grand scheme of things, I'm super curious to see how things play out and tie in, because that's something that's really special about the MCU, is that everything ties together. And like, I think they work very hard to connect everything so that there's no super loose ends, because they know the fans who are dedicated will pick at those so harshly.
Yep.
They're like, no. We have so much source material. We have so much expectation. We have so much investment in the MCU and what you're going to present to us in this new phase with these shows. But like you said, it will be interesting for the very casual viewer or new person coming to it who's just curious and wondering how well they'll be able to connect with the show, because I think that you do have to have at least some kind of basic information from those previous, movies. And especially with Age of Ultron, so many people disliked that movie that I'm sure that a lot of people have forgotten, key points.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think a give and take with Marvel, especially, or even, I guess to some capacity DC, but their storylines, you're gonna have moments where it's gonna be drier than others. It's not all gonna be action. At some point, they have to slow down and fill you in on the story. Like in Age of Ultron, you have to be able to put everything together. It's not. I don't look at it as one movie ever in the MCU because it's so much, and you have to watch them to get the whole story. You can't not watch it. But that just goes as simple as okay, some people have their favorite villains and heroes, and some people in certain storylines aren't going to get as much as others. It's just like that. I don't like this movie because Iron Man doesn't do that much. It's like it wasn't centered around him. I skipped
the Spider-Man movie and I missed a
missed a lot.
When we get done, you need to go pop your popcorn and watch that.
Trav?
So,
honestly, I kind of don't feel like it's a fair question because I don't think the show exists or even gets made without the MCU. And I can't imagine this being anybody's first MCU thing that they would watch. I just can't imagine somebody saying, yeah, check out WandaVision first. So I don't even think those things would even happen. I think now they have the privilege to explore what they can do and get away with because we're already dancing at this point. So they have the privilege. And what's going to happen? It bombs. It can't bomb. It's on Disney Plus. You know what I mean? It can't flop. So
I think that they just set themselves so well, dude, going into this. It wasn't like MCU back in the day. This is what they didn't put something out like WandaVision, right? Look how ahead they are.
They could put out a trash movie. We would go see it. It would do crazy numbers, but everybody reviewed it and said it was trash, and then we would still go watch the next movie anyways.
Exactly.
That's what they've built themselves up to.
I have a question now. That we've kind of touched on the Disney Plus transition. We are reacting to WandaVision like it's the first ever MCU type TV series. Right, and I'm wondering how Agents of S.W.O.R.D. and Agent Carter would have gone had they started with Disney Plus as a platform.
Well, I'm shocked that they haven't moved Agents of S.W.O.R.D. to Disney Plus yet. No, I know it's over. It had 7 seasons. It was successful, but they haven't moved it over.
No, but do they not have it on?
They haven't moved it to Disney Plus yet, and that's
I think they haven't. Carter on there.
I think it's on Hulu or Netflix or something like that.
That's interesting. Try agreement, maybe some sort of network agreement.
Yeah, maybe Netflix. Maybe Netflix still has it.
You're right. Because Agent Carter's over there. And it does lead into. If I'm not mistaken, we'll wrap up the final season. It leads into S.W.O.R.D. stuff.
Right.
If I'm not mistaken, one of them gets stationed up at S.W.O.R.D.
That's the direction.
I think it's Daisy. Yeah, so interesting.
Beca, to answer your question, I feel like if Agents of S.W.O.R.D. was on Disney Plus, it would have been a better show in my opinion. I tried watching the first season and I was watching it because I believe it came out after Avengers, so I was hoping to see characters from the MCU appear in it, and it's we really didn't see anybody for real. It's they were trying to do their own thing, and that's the reason why I stopped watching it. But I do believe if it was in the not MCU, if it was on Disney Plus, I feel like it would get more backing compared to what they were doing when it was on ABC.
It was a great show.
It was trash because Agent Coulson, he's alive, and did his character end up getting killed on Agents of S.W.O.R.D. or is he still alive?
No, he was alive.
Okay, so he's still alive. So it's my thing is why wasn't he at Tony Stark's funeral? You know what I'm saying? It's just dumb. It's you can't have this show and say that it's a part of the MCU, but stuff on the show doesn't go towards the MCU. Because I remember before Age of Ultron came out, I think it was the mid-season finale or the season finale that they did on Agents of S.W.O.R.D. where they did something, and then Agent Coulson had called Nick Fury, and he was just all right, tell the Avengers they're ready to go. I'm just like, well, what's the point of having that if it doesn't lead into anything? You know,
Yeah.
like,
Well,
he doesn't even get mentioned. Like,
Tell him,
we
D.
have. Huh?
No, I'm gonna let him go ahead.
Go ahead, D. Yeah, no, I'm done. I'm just.
And I think it had more to do with them working on multiple projects, and they couldn't find a proper way to tie in, as far as like funding. And then Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. on wasn't that and Agent Carter were on their was it ABC?
Yeah.
So it was just like, they have to do with all the network agreements, which we've never seen the contract. So I think some of that stuff has to do with that, man. Just like the same way a lot of people wanted them to tie in the Netflix stuff, but it was agreements.
Yeah.
And I think they just didn't go deep into the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. stuff because they were working on so many projects.
Yeah.
Like, was it really worth like stopping to try and fit this in? I think so.
Yeah, another TV show we forgot about was Inhumans because of how bad
we don't
it
talk
was.
about that.
Yeah, nobody talks about it. So I think that could have been one too. Like if it was on Disney Plus, they could have.
Just did that.
Hey, I'm mad about that because my boy Black Bolt, bro, he's part of the what's that secret society thing they have? That team,
Illuminati.
Yeah, he's part of it.
Yeah,
and
he is.
He's one of the strongest quote unquote mutants too in the world. So
yeah,
I thought that was, and he's got the voice, bro. Trav knows what I'm talking about.
Trav got the ear.
Yeah, he's got the voice. He can kill you with a whisper, bro. That's powerful.
So are y'all ready to go ahead and wrap this thing up?
Yeah, man.
You know it.
All right, so Becca, thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Thanks for having me again.
You're welcome. Thank you, everybody, for listening to today's episode. And before we let you guys go, Becca, tell everybody where they can find you at in social media land.
You can find me on Instagram under River Moriarty or Feathers and Song.
Trav?
Get your boy on that Instagram at zkaudiobaby.com.
And you can find me at rebellious_D23 at Instagram.com.
And you can find me, your hero, Benjamin Banks, at KingBenji_Banks on Twitter and Instagram. And you can find me on Facebook by typing in Benjamin Banks. And I should be the first person to pop up. If not, then I need to contact Mr. Zuckerberg. Make sure that you follow all of the Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks social media accounts at Leveling Up Banks. And make sure that you like and subscribe to this video so that way you can keep up with your boys here at the Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks team. I just cracked my knuckles and it felt so good. And I don't know if that was if y'all could hear that, but if y'all did, it's gonna. Okay.
Ain't nobody heard that weak ass knuckle crack.
It felt good. It felt good to me. But anyway, yeah, like I said, like and subscribe so that way that you can keep up with your boys. And if you're feeling generous and would love to donate to us, we have a Patreon at Leveling Up Banks. And so, yeah, that's it. Everybody stay safe out there. If you liked WandaVision, let us know in the comments. Tell us if you hated it. Tell us what you're looking forward to going forward with the series. And until next time, we'll see you again. Pinkies up. Peace.